Hello, everyone. It's so awesome to be here. Um, we're learning about the exciting newly released features in ShareFile for accounting. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Height, and I am a ShareFile solutions engineer. I have the pleasure of working directly with new and existing ShareFile customers. And today's webinar is designed to showcase the new accounting features released this past month to help you guys maximize your client experiences. So, on the agenda today, we will cover how to onboard new clients to your ShareFile portal with a signed agreement, tracking and managing workflows like these in automated workflows. And last, we'll cover our new engagement spaces for accounting. And these use cases are our new provided by client tool, and it should help you elevate the way you are requesting documents. And then very last, we'll take a sneak peek of what's on the horizon for our upcoming product enhancements. So be sure to stay tuned. So ShareFile today is a really great tool for accountants. It's actually one of the principal use cases that a lot of our designs and demonstrations that we use to showcase our product's premium capabilities. So with ShareFile Premium, you'll get unlimited secure cloud storage, integrated e-signatures, a beautifully branded client portal, and this will allow your clients to have a centralized location to view, download, upload, and sign their documents. And these new features that we're discussing today are going to aim to reduce the effort for both clients and employees. And by the end of this webinar, you will see how we can reduce the effort to onboard new clients, like sending them engagement letters, disclosure forms, as well as simplifying all of your document request activities. So let's start our discussion on client onboarding and ShareFile, which from the poll seems to be a big task or issue for some of you all. So when you take on a new engagement, throughout the year, you'll need to add your users to ShareFile for that secure client portal access. And how that looks today could be as simple as adding a user to a shared folder or a client folder in shared folders. And of course, there are many different ways to do the same thing in ShareFile. But the next slide that I have, it's really going to illustrate the traditional steps to onboard a client to your ShareFile account. And let's see if everyone watching today can relate, or you guys have identified different ways that your organization adds new users. Maybe it sparks some insight. So there's quite a few manual steps that you can take. Let's say that I have some forms for a client that I need them to review and sign before sharing more documents with them. The first step I may take is to create a new client subfolder where those documents will live. And then the second step is to share that subfolder with the new client. And ShareFile makes that step really easy. I can add a new client directly to the add people to this folder section. I can send them a welcome email to help them get logged in. And then the folder adds them, once they log in as a client user to the client user directory. And then now I can get started on uploading that agreement that I need them to sign to that new client folder. And then using our right signature integration, I can right click on that document in the folder and send it for signature. And you can do this, not sure if you're aware, in the web UI and using the S drive for Windows. So in step 5, oh, got ahead of myself. So in step five, I can use ShareFile contact integration with Right Signature to predictively type in the email and the name of the client that this agreement letter should go to. And then in step six, I'm preparing the document for signature. I highly recommend to our customers to use the reusable templates in Right Signature so that if you have an agreement that you're sending all the time, I can use the import overlay and I can take a template that I've pre-built and put that on the document that I'm sending from their client folder. And if we move on to step seven, um, I'm still building out that template. And this is where I can use merge fields because I want to add a client's information prior to sending the document. And then I've also got any, annotations that I can add. Um, and those add kind of personalization to those documents that we're sending. So then in step eight, I'm going to send it off, right? When I'm all done to the client, they'll review it and sign it. They get that email notification. And then once the client reviews and signs their agreement, the Right Signature archive integration will upload the signed document um, to the folder that I initiated it from. So um, very cool, right? 10 steps, uh, not so bad, but it 10 steps to onboard and send in the client to new users. Um, our research shows that a current user um, in an accounting vertical would do that in order to send them an agreement letter, and they want to do that before beginning new services. Um, but the new feature that I want to discuss with you today was actually released May 1st, just in time for my birthday, by the way. And if you guys have a ShareFile Premium license, you'll see the new option for prospective clients under the People tab. And this is where you're going to add a new user that's not yet officially a client. So we can improve on those earlier slides, right? Um, and so you'll see in this upcoming demo that prospective clients allows you to create agreement templates in ShareFile powered by the magic of Right Signature. And then you'll also be able to see new features that this feature has brought to ShareFile. It's going to be adding new client information fields. So now, in addition to name and email, we can see fields like phone numbers and mailing addresses. And then the prospective client workflow is I was going to be able to autofill that pre-built signature template with the new client information fields. So now my agreement templates are personalized and it's a lot faster than me manually typing into merge fields like I was doing before. And the second, probably most time saving benefit of this new feature is how it automates creating the client after they sign their agreement. So it's going to upload that agreement to a folder specifically created for the new client. How cool is that? So I've got a demonstration to show you guys of the new prospective client section in action. So starting with the prospective client option located within the people section, this is where you'll be able to add those clients you want to onboard. Um, so this is where you add a prospect and notice how the new client information fields, right? These weren't available before and now they're available for all of the users in your ShareFile account. If you want to take a look at an employee or a client user, you can add these features. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-populate the fields with my client and go ahead and add them. And these new fields are going to help us administratively keep track of our client information. So now I can click to onboard this user. I'm going to select a client engagement letter that I've pre-built. But if you want to send a document from here, you're going to have to create a template from the prospective clients to be able to send that agreement ahead of them being added to the account. All right. And so this is just like behind the scenes of what my template looked like when I built it. You see how I added the new client information fields, and they're in purple. Um, and so those will be what the client doesn't have to fill out, and I can go ahead and send it off. So that's really all the steps that are needed from the employee side. You can see that the agreement is sent for the client user. Um, and maybe we want to see what it does from the client's view. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. This is the email that they receive notifying them of the engagement letter that I asked them to sign. And then it'll take them to the signature portion of our portal where they'll be able to view the document, check off those requested items that I am asking from them, and then they can date and sign at the bottom. Great. And notice there's a progress bar towards the bottom showing them how many fields they have left. If this was a really long document, they could save progress and come back to the email to see the screen. But once they're done, they just really just need to submit their signature. They'll get this confirmation page letting them know that they'll be able to come back to this page to download this completed document. And what's very nice is they can also download the combined copy of this document. So it'll have the audit log and the digital fingerprint. Yeah, so has all the annotations added, all of the merge fields, an auto field template um, fields added. Yep, and that's our audit log. Looks great. And then we can go back to ShareFile and refresh the page and see that Manny is going to now be removed from the prospects list, and you'll see him in the browse clients list. And we got all of his information in there. And um, we can also go to shared folders, and this will show us the client folders where the workflow is actually depositing the new, making those new client folders, right? So let's double click into there, and you'll see a subfolder with last name, first name, and then the engagement letter that my client signed, as well as they have permissions to that folder. And I can go ahead and give them upload alerts so that they are now alerted with any of the documents that I'm sending them now that our services have begun. Very cool. So let's summarize um, what was just demonstrated. So, and you'll see how our steps gets reduced, right? So the prospective client feature onboard new clients automatically to ShareFile. And the first step is to add the new client information to the prospect list, right? And this includes those new contact fields that we added in May. And then the second step is to um, select the client agreement from the pre-built template options in ShareFile, um, and then send it over. We are able to choose that existing template going to pull in the client information fields and autofill the document. And then the last step is where all the automation is happening. So once the client signs, the client is created in ShareFile. The client subfolder is created where they now have view, upload, and download access. And they can also see the agreement that they signed uploaded to that subfolder. So it all happens in one fell swoop, and we estimate that this process now takes, less than, 2 to 5 minutes to complete. It reduces your total effort by as much as 60%. So we're really excited to showcase this to you guys today. And just so you're wondering, what does that look like when everything's done? There'll be confirmation emails sent to you and the client. So from the employee view, they'll see that the document is executed. And again, you'll be able to see the client added to the portal. And for the client, they're going to receive a welcome email to ShareFile. So this is going to help them activate their account in ShareFile, set up their password. And when they log in, they'll be able to view the folders that they have access to. So the prospective client workflow is actually a component of another new feature called automated workflows. This will aid employee users to track and manage the client agreements they send, as well as potentially automate any repetitive tasks they have when sending one-signer documents for signature. So taking a look here, the automated workflows allows you to view a full run history of those prospective client workflows that we sent out. And this feature was released at the beginning of this month. And it's got a lot of, different bells and whistles. This current release will have the ability to create workflows that can send, any pre-built template for signature. And then you can have that document signed and automatically uploaded to a ShareFile folder of your choosing. To initiate the workflow, there are defined trigger variables that can map and merge fields into the document. So very much like what we did for onboarding a prospective client, but this can be used for anyone, any reason. So I have a quick demonstration of automated workflows as well. So let's take a look at how this feature works. And we'll also kind of build out a mini workflow to see what the client receives. So this is the run history that I mentioned, and you can see all of the details um, for that last prospective client agreement that we sent. And you can see that the workflow completed with all the timestamps. And then this is where all of your workflows that you created will live. And if we go ahead and start a workflow, we can build it out with those trigger variables. So some of the fields that I want, that I need to initiate this workflow are the email address of the user I'm sending to and their first and last name. And I also have the option to make these variables optional before initiating the workflow. The next action that I'm going to do is send a template for signature. So I have this disclosure form, and then I'm using the variables that I built in the beginning to merge into the document. So the first and last name. So it's personalized to the signer. And then the last step is just to enter the email address of who this document should go to. And I'm going to use the email variable. And then the second step is just to go ahead and, um, have an action where that signed document is uploaded to ShareFile. I get to specify the file name. I could either use that or I use a variable to kind of specify who completed the document. So I could use the email address of that user. So I'm going to go ahead and save these changes. and save the workflow, and you have to switch the workflow to active to get started. And when you do that, you'll get a message about making sure you have access to the files and folders that are involved in this workflow. And, I'm sending a file for signatures. I need to make sure I have e-signature permissions. But I'm filling in the variables for the user that needs to complete this document. And then, of course, the from the client's view, they're going to get an email to sign. It's going to take them the right signature again, and they can go ahead and complete the document. So, you know, what this feature brings is the ability for me to send templates from ShareFile and get those files automatically uploaded back to ShareFile. So I'm actually very pleased with how this works. Um, and I hope you guys can start testing with it and give it a looky loo. So, the last feature on our list to discuss are the ShareFile engagement spaces. Um, so, if your industry is accounting with ShareFile, you guys will see a new tab in your account. Um, Kind of looks like this. And this feature was released in June 1st. Um, what it does is it intends to help our accounting customers organize document requests. So if you're familiar with um, the provided by client concept, this is really what's going into our engagement spaces. Um, there's several use cases for provided by client. I have them on the screen, but you guys are familiar with them, right? You've got a client and you need to request a lot of information from them. Um, and ShareFile does, file requests really well. You can initiate that from a folder, get a link, or send an email, and that can allow your client to upload a large batch of files for your review. But what if we needed something a little bit more robust, right? Because we're doing, one of the following, like an audit or bookkeeping or income tax preparation. We need something a little bit more organized because the amount of files could be dozens, right, that we're reviewing. So what if we had a way to have a flow to that, right, where we ask for one set of documents and then we review them and then we could send them back and move forward, right? That's really what this will do. So let's take a look at creating an engagement. Um, this is going to allow you to view, track, and communicate with your clients. Um, and to start an engagement, you would, give it a name, and then you can share it between any account users, employees, or clients. Um, there's also a feature to assign a role to those users you share the space with. So they could be an owner or contributor in this current release. And then we also have within the engagement space, the way that you organize those requests is with the document request tab. So you'll be able to assign due dates to document requests. You'll be able to track document requests from start to finish. So you can have users upload attachments to those requests, and then the owners in the engagement space can review or approve or send back those items. They can also comment on a specific document request. And the space also includes easy to read dashboards so that everyone can view and track the overall progress between, the service provider and the clients in the space. So I have another demonstration that I wanted to show you guys of engagement spaces. Starting off in the subfolder that was created in the prospective client onboarding workflow, um, we can start an engagement. So there's the engagements tab to the left, and we can open one of these active engagements. We can click share to view and manage the current owner and contributors in the engagement. And just note, when you invite a new user to ShareFile, the engagement will send them a welcome email to help them log in. And then um, for you guys, when you're ready to make those specific task lists, you'll click on the document request task, and then we can drill down to the subtask list. So for this demonstration, I'm going to import some items that I have using the CSV template. This is going to upload the task list and all of the descriptions that I need the client to fill out. And I can select some of the tasks or all of the tasks, right? And send them, send them for request one by one or all together. And this will initiate an email to the client with a link to those items. So once I hit send request, now you'll see I can send a message prior to sending the items. And then now all of the items are open. So the dashboard updates, letting the service provider and the client know, how many tasks are needed to complete. And then I can also create additional requests, right? So this one is the proof of income request. I actually going to create a new request for additional documents. And notice that the request is assigned to the client contributor, assigning the due date, going to import some tasks. I'm going to map them to using the CSV file. So my column A is the name of the task and column B is the description of the task. And click import. And this is so the task list. I'm going to go ahead and send the request. And then let's take a look at what this looks like from the client's view. So they're going to get a notification with the document request, and clicking on this is going to take them to the ShareFile client login portal. And so if you remember before, they got that welcome email during the onboarding workflow. And if there happened to be a new client in ShareFile, they're going to get, even if you're just adding them to engagement spaces without doing the onboarding workflow, they're going to get a welcome email there as well. So you're covered either way. So when they log into the engagement space, they are, able to see like the other folders that they have access to, and then also the engagement space. And here is their task list. So now they can begin to review and complete those tasks. And then when they click on a specific task, they'll see the area for them to upload their attachments. And they can go ahead and drag some from their computer to upload them. And then when they're done adding all of the attachments requested, they can hit submit for review. And once they do that, the items that they submitted for review updates the dashboard and the progress statuses. So they are able to track where they are in all the um, all the various tasks that we've assigned to them. I really like this. So back on the employee view, um, we'll be able to see um, what they've completed. So they're still uploading some documents to the requested items. And then I'm switching back to the employee view. We're clicking into the engagement space. And then now I can see from my side what the client has completed. So I'm going to click on the document request tab and take a look at the items that they submitted for review. And here I'm able to, preview these items directly in ShareFile, or I can download them and review them. Um, and you'll see that I have the options to approve, send back, or edit the item. So these look good to me. So I'm going to approve this task. And then I'm going to take a look at another task and approve it. And I'm taking a look at this task. Something doesn't seem right, so I'm going to send this one back, and I'm able to submit a note um, before clicking on that, before they get a notification about those items need further consideration. Also, you'll see how each of the document requests have its own comment section. So I'm able to, have comments targeted towards specific tasks. And then notice the dashboard updates as we're moving through the progress here. So, in the last few moments, we've approved 2 tasks. We still got one left to review, and then the client still has 6 more open items that they need to provide their attention to. Now, where can we go to kind of take a high level view of everything? We can go to the Files tab and download all of the documents that have been submitted for review. And then we can also take a look at all of the comments throughout the whole engagement space. I can filter for the user or the specific document request. So it's really going to help you sort through some of those items. And then we can always access past conversations and those sort of things. So takes everything kind of out of email and puts it all in one easy to use tool. So tell us what you think in the Q&A section for the features that we've gone over today. I also wanted to give everyone a sneak peek about what's next for engagement spaces and how we're going to be enhancing the dashboards, the statuses on the main tab so you can better track where you are. In addition to that, we're adding additional roles for engagement spaces. This will include a team member and guest roles, and those will have its own associated permissions on what they can do in the engagement space. Um, and then if you notice that the file section in engagement spaces will also be receiving some additional enhancements that we perceive will allow you to delete, copy, and even add some tagging options. And coming out very soon, very, very soon, hopefully next month, we'll have a new, totally unrelated feature called Content Analytics. And this is going to provide your users with an updated look to your ShareFile activity. It's going to give you some insight into what the most active folders are for your users. Um, and that's going to be really great for some of the newer features that we're going to see towards the end of the year. This wraps up my portion of the webinar content. Delia, did you want to go to the next steps?
Hey, thank you, Vanessa. Great job. Just reading through a couple things really quick. But we do have a poll that I'd like to send everybody. So we had an intro poll. We're gonna have an outro poll. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch that. And while everybody is taking a moment to answer it, so today's session, it is being recorded and it will be shared with everyone early next week via email. Um, and any resources that were mentioned during the webinar that Vanessa had talked about, I'll make sure it's included. And I see everybody is participating. Awesome. And let me take a look here. We've got a lot of great questions. I see a lot of people who are really interested in the feature and are asking, well, how come they can't see it or what plan do they need to be on? So any questions that are unanswered, we will make sure to get back to you by either, one of our PMs or PMMs and make sure to get that taken care of. Um, so let me see if there's anything else. We've got some more people answering. So I'm just gonna call out my colleague Tatiana or Palabi. Just wanted to check with you before we ended today's session to see if you wanted to bring up anything. So if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead or message me in our chat. Okay, I think we're good. All right, thank you, Tatiana. All right, so we know there's a lot of questions that aren't answered just yet. Some of them are still being answered actively by a panelist, so I am going to leave it up for a couple more minutes, let those come through. And then if you guys have any last minute questions you want to put in, you totally can. Again, we will get back to you. So, please let us know your thoughts or questions. So, what I'm going to do is I'll be muting myself, but the webinar will show as if it's still continuing, and that's just to give you guys more time if you have questions you want to put in that Q&A. But before I do that, I want to give Vanessa the final word.
Sure. And I can answer this question of all of the features that you guys are seeing today are in our ShareFile Unlimited Premium plans. So if you have, any questions, please reach out to your account representative. They can point you in the right direction, maybe give you some additional demonstrations. And I'm very, very excited to hear all of your feedback.